all things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all.
Oh, man. She knocked it out of the park describing him. So now think to yourself, why would, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and these billionaires, these real billionaires, okay, why would they choose him? Why would they choose him as their vehicle to extreme wealth? Why would they? Is it because he's so smart? No, it's because he's so completely obsessed with himself. It's because he's having a mental breakdown. It's because he can divide people. It's because he can get people to do violent things simply by asking them to do it. That's why they chose him. Because remember, when Donald Trump was running, 10 years ago, Elon Musk was against him. J.D. Vance was against him. He called him America's Hitler. He said that he was, an opioid. He said he was, America's heroin or whatever. I mean, they all were lined up against Donald Trump. They knew what he was then. But all these 10 years later, he's, really declined. He's really gone, into the deep end. And this is a perfect thing for them because they were formed in apartheid. They were formed in apartheid. And Donald Trump believes in apartheid. Not only does he believe in the racism that supports the idea of separation, not only does he support the idea of the rich having everything and poor people, the poorly educated, are too stupid to know what to do with their money. They're too stupid. Okay? But he also believes that Benjamin Netanyahu should do whatever he wants to do. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, thinks that the Mediterranean property that is Gaza should be cleared and developed into like high-end, golf courses and tourism hotels, 5-star hotels right on the Mediterranean coast. It's a beautiful piece of land, he said. He goes, I don't understand why they just don't clean it out. I don't understand it. And what does Donald Trump say to Benjamin Netanyahu? He's been, we do have this stupid law. It's called the Logan Act. It's like the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act says you can't campaign using your official office, right? You can't raise funds for your election while you're standing behind the seal of the Congress or standing behind the seal of the presidency, whatever. They violated every single freaking minute of every single day. Do you think that they're going to adhere to the Logan Act? The Logan Act says that if you're out of office, you can't conduct foreign policy. You can't be, interfering in American foreign policy because you're an ex-president or you're an ex-national security advisor or anything. Well, of course he's doing that. He's on the phone with Vladimir Putin, and so is Elon Musk. That's number one. And these are people who have freaking clearances. Number two, they are literally, talking to Benjamin Netanyahu. And they're telling, Donald Trump has said, he told Benjamin Netanyahu to do whatever he wants to do what he needs to do. He just wishes he would do it fast. I don't know if that means a nuclear weapon. I don't know what that means in that freakish mind of his. I have no earthly idea what he's thinking means fast to him. But they are all about apartheid. They're all about it. And Biden's getting the blame, just like, everything is up is down and black is white, and we're through the looking glass, people, right? And war is peace, and peace is war, and 2 and 2 is 5. And whatever the deal leader says, that should not be questioned. That is where we are here. Now, Biden has called for a ceasefire from the beginning, but Donald Trump has inserted himself into this and said, when I'm president, you could do whatever you want. You could do whatever you want. I mean, it's just where we are. It's a really strange American thing, because I've never seen it in America before like this. But it's because we have people who aren't from here, people who weren't formed here, people who don't regard democracy the way we do, people who didn't sacrifice for this country the way we did. the way our parents did, the way our children may have, okay? By going off to the Gulf War, or going off to, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Honestly, these are people who were raised in apartheid South Africa. I swear to God. Now, Elon Musk, as you might know, is from South Africa. I don't know why people don't know the rest of these creatures and where they're from. But he lived there until he was 17 years old. Elon did. David Sachs, the venture capitalist, he raises big money, who does it for Donald Trump. He actually is part of a South African diaspora family in Tennessee. Peter Thiel spent years in South Africa. In South Africa and in Namibia. Okay, his father was the manager of a uranium mine in South Africa. Paul Ferber, he's an obscure South African software developer, and he's a tech journalist. And he lives near Johannesburg, and he's been identified by 2 teams of forensic linguists as the originator of the QAnon conspiracy. Really? Where am I reading this? In the freaking Financial Times. That's where I'm reading this. 4 of MAGA's most influential voices are 50-something white men whose entire formative years were formed during South African apartheid, and they see the value in it. Now, the writer of this article is also South African, which makes it even more telling. His name's Simon Cooper, Kuper. He writes for the Financial Times. And he said, his parents left Johannesburg before he was born, but he's also South African. And he goes, and it isn't a coincidence. I say that as a 50-something white man whose formative experiences include childhood visits to my extended family in apartheid South Africa. He said, we'd swim in my grandparents' pool while the maid and her grandchildren lived in the garage. These experiences were so shocking, so different from anything I experienced growing up in Europe, that they are my sharpest childhood memories. So what connects these men's Southern African backgrounds with MAGA today? Southern Africa under apartheid offered an extreme version of some of the main themes of American life today. First, there was tremendous inequality. The mine where Peter Thiel's father worked was known for conditions not far removed from the indentured servitude, writes Peter Thiel's biographer, Max Chafkin. White managers like the Thiels had access to brand new medical and dental centers and membership in the company country club. The mine's black migrant workers lived in camps. The whites of a certain mindset thought this inequality was not due to apartheid. They thought it was inscribed in nature. See, we're going to go back to this bell curve thing. I swear to God we are. This is who is guiding the rhetoric that's coming out of this campaign, okay? This campaign. And they've chosen him because he's a racist and because he's nuts. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.